Today we have a very special guest in front of a full house. Everybody's here today, which is absolutely amazing. I think we have almost 40 people, which is great. I know a lot of people watch this on the recordings. And yeah, I'm so excited today because we have a special guest. And our special guest today is Gerard Geef, and he's one of the best users of the system that we've seen. So I've coaxed him from the Maldives Islands, which is where he's currently staying, and which he's currently, well, you'll be there for a couple of weeks, so on holiday. See, this is what you get when you work the system properly. You get to go to all these amazing islands. And I just wanted you guys to get a different perspective of somebody that uses the system in a specific way. And what I love about Gerard is he's a no BS kind of guy. He tells it like it is. He's not one of those rah, 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 in your face, look how glorious and wonderful and hands, you know, one of those kind of overly kind of super charismatic people that you don't trust. He's just diligent, puts his head down and absolutely does it. So I think he's going to be an inspiration for you guys today. Really, Gerard, it's been a pleasure working with you. My team absolutely loves working with you. And I'm just going to hand over the next 20 or so minutes to you. And just please, if I interrupt you every now and again with a question, please don't be offended. But I would love to just hand over to you and let everybody watch how you work the magic. Thank you, Gerard.
Alrighty. So can everybody hear me? Right. So if you can hear me, that's great. You know, thanks, Scott, for the opportunity. Always great to kind of work with you guys. And you know, what I want to show you is, like Scott said, the specific way I use the system. And let me start off by saying what you get with your Majestic 3 implementation and when you use the system is, number one, you're establishing yourself as a thought leader, right? So somebody that actually has specific knowledge about a topic. And the second thing that you actually do with your listicle or article and the subsequent emails is establish that mind share, right? So if somebody reads mail 1 and they skip mail 2 and they read mail 3, you're still getting that mind share with that person. So you kind of have a meeting of minds somewhere in the middle. And that's what I rely on in the way that I use the system. So I'm just going to share a few things. I'm an engineer, chemical engineer, right? So, you know, one of those guys, and you know, that uni had no personality, stayed in the room and, you know, hit the books every night. So like Scott said, I'm not an animated person, and I absolutely hate calling people, right? And as a salesperson, one of your best weapons is actually talking to people. But the only way to talk to people and get in front of them is to get a meeting. And the worst way to try and get a meeting is through a series of emails, right? And, you know, I know Majestic 3 kind of goes a slightly different way, but that's just my observation and my opinion. I'll show you a little bit of stats, what I've done to date. So why I started with I'm an engineer and I don't like calling people is I think a lot of people are in that space.
No, it looks like we lost Gerard there for a second. Gerard, hopefully he'll come back in a...
And I will share with you.
Sorry, you're back. You disappeared for a second, Gerard, but you're back. You have us on tenterhooks, my friend.
Sorry, guys.
Yes, okay. Yeah, you're back now. Hopefully we'll get enough stability for you to go through it. Keep going, Gerard. Thank you.
All right. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So what I've done is in in association with the work that we've done with Majestic 3 in terms of our listicle and our emails, I went and I put together a campaign call script, right? Which basically says, and this is something that you can then also hand over to maybe a more junior engineer that's not busy, or somebody else in the office. Remember, the purpose of what we're trying to do is to try to get in front of a client so that we can have a business discussion. Right, so this is the first thing I did. I put together a campaign script. So you can see, it's just kind of the campaign information, the schedule, the actual script. What am I going to say? And the nice thing about the Majestic 3 system is it opens the door on what am I going to say, because that was what I was afraid of. I'd call the number and think, okay, so if the guy answers, what should I tell him? What should I ask him? And having that mind share actually prevents you from having that fear, because one thing is, my name is Gerard Greef, we connected on LinkedIn, and I've been sharing some listicles and emails with you. Does that ring a bell? And then sometimes the guys say no, and you say, well, it's about XYZ, or he says yes, and you say, well, are you experiencing similar problems in your factory, for instance, right? So this is what this document actually does, is it helps you prepare for your calling, right? So you can see there, there's a few mails. So those are the mails generated by Majestic 3. This is mails that I generated because I'm going to call people after a number of calls. I sent out an email, right? So you can see here, and I think Cherie has taken this and she's kind of condensed it a little bit to make part of the Majestic 3 system. But so my strategy is, I have the mind share. If somebody has read 2 of my emails or clicked on a listicle, they're really interested in what I have to say. Therefore, I am ready to give them a call, right? And then I go through this specific call attempt schedule. First time I call, they don't answer, I don't do anything. Second time, if I can, because I have a cell phone number, I leave a voicemail. Or if I get through to a secretary or a receptionist, I leave a voicemail. Call 4, 5, I don't do anything. Call 5, I follow up with the email from my personal account once again. And you'll see kind of what those emails say, and you can see the schedule, right? So that is my prep that I've done. So if I get somebody to agree to a first virtual meeting, because that's, what you want to do is you want to grab the guy and have a virtual meeting where you have his undivided attention for 10, 20, 30 minutes, right? When he agrees, then there's a presentation with a script that is associated with the presentation. There's questions and objectives. So always the guys will have objective, but we have a solution like this. Well, that's great to hear, good to know there's mature companies out there that has this type of technology already implemented. Do you also use the information you get from this specific thing to do machine learning, for instance? All right. So think about what guys are going to come back and what they're going to object to, and, prep yourself. So that's what we do here. This, like I said, can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see here, it's a 5-slide presentation, right? Very closely related to the messaging in the listicle, because you want to continue getting that mind share, right? So it's very simple. You can see the slides are very simple, but the slides, there's a story behind the slides. So it's not about the slides, it's about the story. Okay, so that's the second thing that I've done, and it is part of, as I showed you previously, it is part of the call script, right? So it's part of the call script. And then the last thing that I do is when I get to, and you are all familiar with this, the Maya app. So when I get into a situation like this, I say, right, who's this guy? Right, because, you know, number one, he actually clicked through. I'm sure that he went to an article once or twice. And let's see who he is. He's from Bridgestone. Let's see who this guy is. If it's somebody that's worth contacting, production manager, just the guy I want to talk to. So that's great. Let's go to his details. And so I've got all the details here. I copy and paste into my call tracker spreadsheet, right? So I'm not going to copy and paste now, but I will, you know, this is kind of the end result. So you can see here, what I've built here is a template. So there's a number of people that I have talked to, and there's a number of people I haven't talked to. So if you see completely on the left, where there's green, or sorry, where there's yellow, it means that I've spoken to this person or I've tried talking to him. So if I go here, you can see here, I tried calling him twice and I stopped trying. And the reason is that, you know, he's either not interested or somebody told me he doesn't work there anymore. Yeah, incorrect details. So he doesn't work there anymore. This guy, for instance, wasn't interested. All right. This one, they said, you know, he works there, but not at the specific department, and they don't know where he's from. Okay, so you can see that I've built a tracking tool with the company, where the person works, his first name, his last name, his title, production manager, quality manager, whatever, landline number, mobile number. Now, sometimes when you get into your Majestic 3 app, like here, for instance, there is no telephone number. Unfortunately, that just means you have to do a little bit of research on Google, find the switchboard number, and try and get the person through there. So let me just go back to my filter. So these are the guys that I'm still in progress or that I have not called yet. So all of these guys you can see right at the bottom here. These are all the people that I've not tried to call yet.
Quick one there, Gerard, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Just for those guys watching this, you can see in the mobile number column, I would say, what is that, about 1 in 4, roughly, maybe 20%, 1 in 5, 1 in 4 have phone numbers already, which obviously does help you. I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it's quite nice if that's available. But, you know, LinkedIn does have some good data, but if not, like you say, you've got to hunt for it.
Yeah, and sometimes people don't put in there, and that's kind of in some cases where you get the incorrect details, is sometimes people put in their office number, which is just as good, or their switchboard number, which is just as good. But I would say in about 50% of the cases, there will be a number that you can potentially call. Right, so how do I go about it, and how do I use this specific spreadsheet? So you'll see this pinkish, I don't know if it's pink, orange, whatever that color is. These are people that I've already spoken with. So you can see I tried calling this guy. I gave him 8 calls until I finally managed to reach him. Because remember, you're not going to reach a person every time you try to give him a call. And my cadence is I call 10 times and then I say, I can't reach the
Looks like we just lost Gerrit there again. Hopefully he's going to jump back on. While he's talking, I want you guys, if you can, just to please notice his call sheet, call number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guys, do you see that? Hey, he phones up to 9 times if necessary. You guys are probably sitting there with your jaw on the ground. How many of you phoned once? Gerrit, you're back.
So,
thank you. Carry on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. The internet connection seems to be a little bit unstable, but yeah, Scott, like you said, it's all around diligence. So my target is to call 20 times a day. So make 20 calls, right? I very infrequently reach it, but I set aside an hour a day for calling. And if you don't do that diligently, then you will not get results, because you're not going to be talking to people, right? Now, what makes it nice, like I said, is I already have mind share with the person that I'm calling. We have something to discuss because he's read something that I've published, right? So, and actually, Scott, there's 10 calls. So I do 10 calls, right? And then I say, okay, so, the guy's not interested, not reachable, whatever. So I can actually have stats. Okay. Then if I look at my call stats, which is the last thing, you can see it's been, what's it? I can't get this. Oh, 15. So 15 weeks, I talked to 212 people that I have never talked to before in my life. Of those, there were a number of people that said, go away. Of those, 36 converted into leads, which means that they've asked me to give them or to do a site visit. Can you come to my office to discuss this with me? Right. So out of 212 people I talked to, 36 invited me to their office. And you can see here, I've called 866 odd times to get me 200 conversations. And you can see at the bottom here, these are the specific weeks. So, the first 2 weeks, I had a lot of people to call, and then life happened for a week. And then, I had another 2 good weeks, and then life happened again. So I think what I'm trying to say is that if you do not put aside time to call, you're not going to get results. Out of these, I've created 4 proposals already out of the 36 odd people that wanted me to come and do site visits. I've got 4 proposals. One person is on the verge of actually signing. And in addition, we're not selling widgets. We're selling very complex solutions where the sales cycles are anywhere between 6 months to 24 months. So, it's not supposed to be a quick sale. However, it's around volume. So if you're not getting enough out of your funnel, it's because you're not putting in enough into your funnel. So, you can see there 58 average calls per week for those weeks that I've actually managed to actually make some calls that I wasn't in the Maldives or wherever. And yeah, 14 average conversations per week, 2 leads per week. Now, and like I say, 2 leads is 2 people saying, well, yes, come for a site visit, come for a plant walkthrough, because that's typically the first thing that we do as a business when we engage with our clients. So yeah, that's it. Is there any questions?
Oh, Gerrit, it's beautiful. I mean, it's just a day in the life of a true salesperson. Larry, you've got your hand up first. Please put your hand up, guys, if you've got questions.
Yeah, great. Thanks. I am so impressed, Gerard. That is dedication and discipline. But what intrigues me, what I wanted to ask was, so what was your activity and your motivation and your engagement with the sales process before Maj and after? So how, I didn't know what your results were before you incorporated this method. And because you don't like calling, I was also interested in not just the results as, 2 leads a week or 36 people invited us over, I think it was 27 weeks I saw, but how you're feeling, the engagement about the process, the momentum, the energy, your energy about it.
Yes. So, the first week that I called, I was like still apprehensive. So every time I called, it's like, should I really call? All right. And I tried to tell myself, but maybe this is not really a company we want to do business with. Now I actually look forward to calling, because I get to talk to people that I've never talked to before. Some are friendly, some tell me to go and jump in a lake. That's all good. But I'm talking to people. Okay. And if your question about, what happened, I am not a salesman, never been a salesman, right? I have never done sales prior to this. I always had some salespeople going out and doing the actual sales. So this is the first time that I'm actually in the sales, as a part of my job is the sales role. And that's why I do it. And that's why I say I don't like talking to people. I actually never like talking to people that I don't know, right? Or I have not been introduced to.
Yes.
But I feel that with the emails, with the Mindshare, I've been introduced to this person, so I can talk to him as if we have been introduced.
Yes, yes.
So it takes away all that apprehension.
Yes, yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And Gerard, but maybe this is Scott. I've always been an avid LinkedIn user, and I've got a subscription. So do you need a subscription to do this process with LinkedIn?
You don't. Gerard, do you have LinkedIn Premium Sales Navigator? It's a good question.
I actually do have Sales Navigator, but the guy that, we share a message, he does not have Sales Navigator. So you actually do not need Sales Navigator.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You.
Moving across to Anbar. Anbar's got a question.
Sorry. Can I maybe just qualify that? I think with Sales Navigator, you can actually send to second and third away from you, right? So not direct connections, second tier connections, but when you are a normal user, right? So connections of your connections, you can send to them. But with Sales Navigator, you can actually send to third level people as well. So people that, know people that you know.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to clarify, you can send to third people on the free version, third degree, but it's more limited than it is on Sales Navigator, which is open to everybody. So yeah. Basically what Gerard says is correct. But you can still send to some third degree on the free version. Thank you guys. Anbar.
Hi, Scott and Gerard. Thank you for the opportunity. My question is basically, what specific time do you normally call these people? Is there any kind of time frame?
Well, yes, I try to schedule my calls 10 o'clock in the morning. So after all the morning meetings, and I kind of change it up. So on Monday, I'll call 10
Looks like we just lost him again there. Hopefully he'll return there. Yep, good question, Anbar. How many calls a day? Just to try to be consistent.
So after lunch.
Gerrit, do you mind just trying that again? Apologies.
Sorry. Yes, now, am I back or
There,
have
yes,
I lost?
you're back now.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Like I say, in the Mondays, I'll call 10 o'clock in the morning after morning meeting. On Tuesday, I'll call 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after lunch, before afternoon tea. Wednesday, I'll call 10 o'clock in the morning again. And then the next, and then the next week, I'll change it around.
Alternate, so, okay.
Very interesting. And just to continue Anbar's question there, Gerrit, are there any particular times of day that you find work better?
Well, I call 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock because that's the time I find most people kind of in the office. So that's why I basically call at those times. So I do also call other times, you know, when I, for instance, only made 10 calls and I know I need to make 20. I do call some other times as well, but I've found that those are the best times to call.
Very interesting, very interesting. Anbar, does that answer your question?
Yes, yes. No, because also, just to give you a little bit of insight, I did a call once on a Friday afternoon, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was I actually called an attorney from a large company, and he reckon, what are you doing on a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock? I reckon the same thing what you are doing.
Yes.
You know? So it kind of broke the ice. So
yes.
It just depends on the timing, I suppose.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
So if you look, for instance, you know, you'll see that there's kind of the yellow and the other color, and then there's a dark red color that was in my template. Those are the guys that say, call me after hours. So you manage to kind of get him once, but he says, listen here, I'm in a meeting or I'm in the factory. Can you call me after hours and we can discuss? So you mark them and you call them after hours.
Thank you, Gerard. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Scott.
Yeah, you're welcome. Really fascinating. And just before we carry on, are there any other questions? I don't think so, but I'll just give everybody a couple of seconds. Anyone got any specific questions for Gerrit? Tuan, yes, Tuan's got a question.
Morning, Gerard. Nice to meet you.
Morning, Tuan.
Do you only work in South Africa or elsewhere?
No, I only work in South Africa.
Okay. I wonder what it would be like if you did it overseas. I know you're going to have to travel in, but
no, look, you know, I've worked in a company that actually does this overseas, and they target, but they have specific people that does this similar kind of business that I have, but they have people dedicated calling. They call 4 hours a day. They have to make 80 calls a day to talk to 2 people. So, you know, and there's also differing results because remember, it's a cultural thing. Some people don't answer their mobile phones if it's somebody that they don't recognize. Other people don't answer their office phone. You know, some people are rude. Depends on culture. So there's a cultural thing. And I've found in South Africa, specifically using this mind share thing, because the other company that does this from a cold call perspective. So we go to a database, we find Tuan Picard, and you give him a call because he kind of works in the type of company that you want to engage with. And their results are a lot lower than I get with Majestic 3 methodology because I already have mindshare. So people I know they're interested in talking to me.
Interesting. Yes.
Yeah, it proves what we've been saying for the last few weeks, guys. And ladies, this is it. You know, if you have that, Gerard calls it mindshare. You know, if people know who you are, it makes life easier. It's really that simple. As far from the UK.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me all right? Yeah.
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic work, Gerhard. Very impressive. Very impressive. Sorry, just trying to see my screen. I lost you on the screen, but okay. Just a quick question. Well, first of all, actually, I just you're super organized. I can tell. You know, your spreadsheet is amazing. I mean, you should see mine. It's well, I don't even want to say, but it doesn't look anything as organized as that. And all your call kind of, you know, your tracking as well. So that's super impressive. And just more of a question back to your first document you showed. I think it was this sort of objection handling, your script and the objection handling. I just wonder if you could talk just for a couple of minutes on kind of how you sort of put that together. And also you mentioned that you delegate that to some people and how they utilize that to be able to, you know, make calls and actually manage objections, and any other kind of insights you can give to sort of using that as a way to sort of get those meetings.
Okay, so that document, like I said, you know, it took me quite a while. So that is not something you do in half an hour. You have to really put some thought into it. You need to know what your message is. So what do you want to discuss with this guy, right? What is it that your listicle tries to convey and your emails convey as a message? Because that is what you have mind share about. When you call somebody, they say, well, you know, actually, we already have this. I just like, you know, what you're writing and I can relate, and we've already solved it. And then your objection, so he's already said, actually, I don't need what you want to sell me because I've already solved that specific problem. But what your objections, and that's kind of the next thing that you then think of, okay, so if I can't sell you blue cups, right, maybe you're interested in a red cup, right? Because a red cup does something slightly different using the same data. Do you have that? Okay, so it kind of, you know, the objections build on top of each other. So when the guy says, I already have, you have to be very respectful of that. You know, and my way is to compliment them because, you know, in my industry, people don't actually have what we sell, or in a lot of cases. So it's great that you guys are so mature. Do you also use the data that you collect from there to do these higher level things? So those are things that actually I've put in my call script after I started calling, because you can think of potential objections or questions from the clients before you start calling. But then you start calling and then they start asking you questions you did not anticipate, or they come up with objections that you did not anticipate. And then you hang up and you say, oh, how should I have answered that question? And then you go back into your script, you put it in your script, right? You think about it, you digest it, and then next time you call and you get a similar question or objection, then you know, I've already researched, I know how to answer this question. I know how to respond to this objection.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, great. Thanks very much for that insight. Very helpful. Appreciate that.
Okay, not a problem. Yes, Jason, I see all, and yeah.
Right. Yeah, fantastic. And just to echo, we can clearly see the engineering mindset, which is a key part of it. That's so detailed, but that's shown in your results. Obviously, Scott's taught us the relationship between pitching an egg in the beginning rather than the whole chicken, particularly with something that's as complex as yours. So
yes,
what would your egg be? Is that your initial factory visit? How do you kind of pitch that in the beginning, or do you not lead with a actual product?
No, I went, or as a message, completely agnostic. So we don't talk product at all. We talk, this industry typically has these 4 or 5 problems. And, these are the typical solutions to the problems. And then the emails basically just build on that and expand that a little bit wider, so that you get the interest from, obviously, from the people to read the email or to click on, the link going out from the email. So yeah, it's not. Yeah, we're not selling a specific product. We're not selling an egg. Yeah. Actually, what we're selling is smoke, right? Smoke and mirrors. But that finally converts into real value for the client. Obviously, that's what you want to sell. But you have to first get that mind share. Get them interested in what you have to say, so that they do, when they talk to you, they recognize you.
Yeah, understood. And I know I'd have to go back and watch the recording, but and I apologize, I missed that at the beginning. You have the listicle, which is your initial product, your initial piece of content, and is the email sequence around the different things mentioned in the listicle? So you have a 4 or 5 part email sequence.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's similar, but when the listicle says number 1 is this, your email number 1 does not necessarily have to say that specifically. Can have a slightly different slant.
Understood. Yeah. Oh wow.
Here it is.
Okay. Yeah.
This is his listicle here.
Yeah.
So each email is derived as an expanded version of some of these bullet points, and then beyond as well. So you guys can see what he's actually referring to. We call it a listicle because it's a list-based article. And Gerrit, what Jason, just to expand on what Jason said, you probably don't know the lingo. So what he was referring to was when you go into a client and you do a proposal, is that proposal for a huge, big ticket item off the bat? Or do you have something small that you can go in with that gives you a chance to get to know the client, like a half-day workshop or something small to bait them in, and then they get the big ticket item? Or do you go straight for the big proposal?
Well, it's all around what the clients actually require. So some clients say, okay, give me, so I've got 10 production lines. Give me a proposal for all 10, but then also give me a proposal to do a pilot on 1. So they want to see the extent of, so what's the whole project going to cost me, but, give me also a cost for 1 so that we can do a pilot and prove the value.
So the pilot then would be your, as an option to get them to test it. Yeah, no, I love that.
Yes.
So yes, and what you guys also probably noticed, which guys might think, hey, that's a bit strange, but Gerrit didn't even talk about the My Most Trusted Chrome extension, which obviously we've learned to know and love. And that's absolutely fine. I mean, obviously we're doing his invitation message, acceptance message. We're doing his LinkedIn behind the scenes, but he's not using it as much to track. He's using a spreadsheet. There's absolutely nothing wrong. Some clients use a CRM tool, absolutely nothing wrong. But what matters is he's actually doing it and he's getting through that. So I just wanted you guys to mention that it's not about the tools that you're using necessarily. It's about the determination and the diligence to do it. Gerrit, am I right there?
Well, yes, that's why I say, I put out the hours and, I feel bad when I miss my target. So I've adjusted my target. I said I wanted to do 40 calls a day, 20 calls a day, Monday to Thursday. So 80 calls in a week. And I've adjusted that down to 50. So I want to do 50 calls a week. So a call is when you actually press the buttons to give somebody a call. Right? Because sometimes you don't have answer or you only get through the reception. So, and that's why, and I record those so that I can keep track of who I've called, when I've called, because sometimes it happens that you've called the guy yesterday, and you talked to him, but if you don't put it in, well, if I don't put it in the spreadsheet, I'm going to call him again today and forget that I've actually talked to him yesterday. All right. And he said I should call back today.
Absolutely. Yeah, very, it's great. And you've just shown that it's possible. Gerrit, you're in paradise in the Maldives. I don't want to keep you, too much longer. You're welcome to stay on for a few more minutes if you like. But guys, I just really appreciative because, there's this whole notion out there and there's a whole stigma, and we see it with many clients and many people we speak to that leads and deals are going to fall from heaven. That you don't need to go out and work to get them, and that there's some magic system that's going to be able to do it for you. Yeah.
Just to answer one of the questions there, manual dialing. I don't have an auto dialing machine, so it's kind of manually punching in the numbers. But it's still effective. So yeah.
Fantastic. I'm going to stop recording now. Gerrit, once again, hugely appreciated. You're a superstar. And once again, thank you so very, very much.
Not a problem at all, Scott. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to actually chat to you guys. And yeah, have a wonderful week further.
Thank you.
Thank you.